Welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who is currently writing the third chapter of his latest book entitled How to Make a Simple Wallet. It's Jonny Numb. You like that?
I just got back from Catabasis, and I came back for my wallet, Jack. Yes.
So what you're saying is art and death are the same. That is the sound that we get when we get closer to hell. The millions of people, they join together. You know, I know it's a ringing sound in the house that Jack built when they get closer to hell, but I kind of took it as buzz. And so, I love Dante's Inferno, but I kind of started thinking about the buzz that Lars von Trier movies get when they come out and how many people sort of rally against them. So I felt like he was starting to say that this screaming, this noise, this ringing is just nothing to me. Like, it's just the masses complaining. I don't know if you got that from this movie.
No, I didn't, but that's a totally keen and probably very valid observation there. Yeah.
Why thank you. Hey, well, thanks for coming back. So we did the very light movie known as Dragged Across Concrete. And now we're doing the probably more G-rated movie, The House That Jack Built, directed by Lars von Trier. So I only really bring you in for the fluffy stuff, Jonny Numb. So I appreciate you coming back.
No, Dragged Across Concrete was really light. It was like a Rebel Wilson comedy, actually. Yeah. So Actually, could you imagine if Rebel Wilson was in the Mel Gibson role in Dragged Across Concrete?
Oh, gosh. Well, you know what? I would pay to listen to her react to Vince Vaughn eating a tuna sandwich.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That would be amazing.
So it was like Vince Vaughn was eating a sandwich and it was like so slow and stuff. I could eat a sandwich faster than that.
Oh.
Yeah. Crushed it.
I thought you were going for Werner Herzog at first.
Oh, man. I guess they kind of sound alike, so yeah.
But, and also before we get in too far into this, I just want everyone to know that Jonny Numb is the co-host of the Last Knock podcast. It's amazing. Also check him out at Loud Green Bird to read his reviews. And he's also on Letterboxd under Jonny Numb. And I gotta say something before we get into this very light and fluffy movie. You gave Ready or Not 2 stars. And we're adults, and I get exactly where you're coming from when I read your review. But if I was 17 and not as mature, I would have been like, you don't get it, bruh. But I'm not. I think you're a very intelligent man, and I'm honored that you're on our show. But I just want you to know what 17-year-old me would have thought about your opinion of Ready or Not.
Mark, would you have chased after me with a crossbow or something upon seeing my reaction to Ready or Not?
You would be up in the air right now. I would have you over my head, and I would be just running around with you.
Oh man, no, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we won't talk further about that. But this movie, man. Okay, House That Jack Built. I know I'm putting you out there, but break this movie down in 40 words or less. 40 words or less.
Okay. Oh shit, that counts toward the 40 words probably.
Yeah, you're at 10 now.
I'm at 10. Oh shoot, I'm in negative numbers now. Basically, it's following the title character played by Matt Dillon through, I believe it's 5.
Yep.
5 of his most noteworthy incidents as relayed to a character named Verge, who we don't see until near the very end, or maybe the very beginning of the movie, depending on your sense of time and perception. So it's basically a serial killer story told from the serial killer's POV, and the unreliable narrator aspects that go along with that.
Gee, that's perfect. So yeah, very unreliable narrator. Because I remember Matt Dillon was talking about the first kill with Uma Thurman, and she's saying all this, so the kills in this movie, they go from, there's the kills in this movie, they go from almost improv, kind of jokey, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then they go to, the second one is kind of goofy, right? He's not good at it yet, and he puts donuts and tea down a woman's throat. And then he drags her face first, and then rain washes away. And then we have a very cruel murder. Yeah. And then we have almost an unhinged murder, right? And then,
I would say so. It's the fourth one is very fetishized. Yeah.
Fetishize. Oh, perfect. Very Jack the Ripper. How's that Jack built? Hey.
Oh yeah, Saucy Jack. Yeah. There you...
And then the last one, he just wants to be caught.
Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah.
Now, geez Louise, this movie's crazy. But, okay, Lars von Trier, right? So,
Sure.
I rewatched Antichrist for this, and I didn't, that movie, let me start off by saying one thing. What I love about Lars von Trier is that, and we talked about this during our Drag to Cross Concrete episode, where there was an Onion article, early 2000s, where it says, Marilyn Manson is now going door to door trying to shock people.
Yeah.
I don't think Lars von Trier is at that point quite yet. I know that he's trolling in certain moments. He is wanting to push buttons. Matt Dillon said he liked the movie, and he said that Lars looked at him pissed off. Lars said that the jeers... Whenever I say Lars, I want to say Lars Ulrich, and they also did House That Jack Built.
That's
for a
true.
song. So he loves people walking out. He loves that reaction.
He's a bit like Gaspar Noé or that type of guy who's like he wants to piss you off. He wants to make you, the viewer, confront something maybe that you don't want to confront, and to him maybe it's a sign of success that, oh well, I did something that was so hard and so confrontational that you had no choice but to like just avert your eyes or just walk out in disgust. So it's kind of like, I win. Do
you think people were primed to want to walk out? Because nothing in this movie is more shocking than Antichrist, right? In Antichrist, the Chaos Reigns moment isn't shocking, but I think it's beautiful. But there's moments in that movie that you just go, whoa. I am desensitized towards everything, but there's things in Antichrist that shock your face. And this movie, were there any whoa moments for you? Because I don't think I had those in this movie, because I felt a very playful spirit to it.
Yeah, there's definitely, going back to the unreliable narrator thing, it's like the movie is almost void of any sort of real context, so it's not really it's definitely not a traditional narrative. I would almost call Antichrist kind of conventional by comparison in terms of a structural approach almost, and I think you're probably right, Mark. Antichrist is the more disturbing of the two, because I feel, in a way, this one, House That Jack Built, is inserting a lot of critique and auto-critique. Like, Von Trier's on the defensive and the offensive in this movie, whereas with Antichrist, it feels like it was actually, he was trying to tell a story that was more detached from his ego, perhaps.
It was part of his, depression trilogy?
Yeah, with, Dogville and Melancholia or something else?
Nymphomaniac. Melancholia, and then this. Melancholia is my favorite, by the way, of
it's
all
a
of
good
his
movie.
fears.
Yeah.
The Phantom camera, slow motion scenes blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I show it to my students, and they're like, what are you showing us? But, no, I think you're absolutely right. Like, this movie... I almost expected, in Spaceballs when the alien pops out of that his chest and is like, hello, my honey, hello. Like, I almost expected that at certain moments. Is that bad?
You mean in this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have put it past him to do something like that. Honestly, you know a scene, I saw this in the theater when it played for one night last year, which caused kind of a stir with the MPAA and everything.
You saw the unrated?
Yeah, that one night I drove like 40 minutes to check it out, and it was in like a pretty packed one screener theater too. So the reaction was very interesting, but the moment that I was surprised got a bunch of laughs from people was where you see the kid positioned in the freezer, upright, grumpy becomes smiley, and I was like, God, that's, even watching it again, I was like, God, that just, something with people with a frozen grin literally freaks me out. I don't like the creepy grin stuff. So
is it bad? So going into this movie, I know his MO. So nothing that the only thing that got me was the duck, the baby duckling.
Yeah.
And that's all CGI, of course. I like whoever, the Humane Society, whoever, PETA, they said that they actually supported it by saying that young kids who become killers, they actually experiment on animals. So animals were hurt, but this took a serious, and you know what's crazy is, there's some hyper violence. I mean, he takes a child, he murders a child, and he molds the child in a freezer to have a smiley face. But I found that not as disturbing. And I'm not trying to preach, but there are some like network TV shows on ABC, NBC, where people get murdered just willy-nilly and no one cares. There was a show on called Whiskey Cavalier, and this lady infiltrated herself into the antagonist or the protagonist group, and she eventually was found out. And the guy that she was dating to infiltrate the group killed her, shot her in the heart, and he just made a joke about it. And I just kind of went, this is on network TV, and there's no ramifications. But I guess when you watch a Lars movie, this violence is ugly. This is, you know, that's why I like Jeremy Saulnier movies, why I like S. Craig Zoller movies, is where the violence is not, it's not, hey, I just murdered my ex-girlfriend by shooting her in the chest and I'm going to make a joke about it. This is ugly violent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And we could rabbit trail down something else, but I'll try not to.
Dude, let's rabbit. Let's do it.
Well, that's something that I'm going to be like probably 0 for 2 with you tonight, but I did not like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for that very reason. I think I felt the violence when it showed up was very like, oh, hey, oh, it's hilarious. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. And I understand what he was trying to do with that, the ending of that movie, but I was just like, it seemed to me more crass that he did what he did instead of doing what we know of history, kind of. Does that make sense without giving anything away?
I mean, do you think history was almost more violent with the amount of stabbings?
Oh, yeah.
I get what you're saying. For some reason, you know what I think I liked about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is just the filmmaking aspect of it all.
Well, I mean, that's definitely the high point, yeah.
Yeah, and so I guess when that happened, it didn't, I guess I was like, well, I guess it's better than the alternative. That's how I sort of rationalized it in my head. Does that make sense to you?
Oh yeah, absolutely it does. I was just kind of like, Dude,
we're grown men, man. It's all good. We disagree. It's perfect. I love it.
This year I have been like, everything that people have been raving about, and this is another rabbit trail, everything people have been raving about, I'm like, oh, I want to see that because I like the director or the pedigree behind it or the idea behind the movie. And then it's like Ready or Not. It's like, I knew you liked it and you were speaking highly of it. And I walked in ready to really get down. And initially I was really getting with its rhythm kind of, and then it just kind of lost me. So I was like, oh, that sucks because I really wanted to like this. So, it's been a weird year for me,
Now, Climax was this year, right?
I would say for our purposes, for U.S. viewers, I would say it's 2019.
What'd you think about Climax?
It's funny. There's an episode of The Last Knock coming up that that has not yet been posted. I'm not sure when it's gonna post, but because Bill controls all that. But we did talk about Climax. I'll just say, spoiler, I really liked it. I really did.
That was number 2 on Movies, Films, and Flix' best films of this decade.
Yeah, I've got that loaded on my iPod right now to listen to.
I just spoiled it. Yeah, so...
I knew you guys were going to talk about it, which was awesome, so I'm like, hey, whatever.
Yeah, it's one of my more lucid episodes.
I don't know if I can handle that, Mark. I don't know.
When I bring in you and Zach Beckler and other guests, you guys really bring a very hey, my cats. You guys bring some, I don't know, like very well thought out and intelligent thoughts. So that's when I put a lot of brain power into these. So I'm gonna have to go into a sleep for about 4 days after this episode.
You're gonna go into the hyper sleep, Mark.
Yeah. You're not gonna hear from me for a little while.
Another week in the cryotubes. Yeah.
So I guess we'll get back to this movie. Now, I guess what we were talking about, let's kind of like break down some of these kills in this movie and kind of how it goes. The first one involves Jack kind of killing. Is his first kill using a jack? Jack murders his first victim with a car jack.
Well, here's the thing, Mark, where it totally, Von Trier just totally goes at you with the unreliable narrator thing from the get-go. Oh, this guy's named Jack. What a coincidence that this first incident revolves around a jack, and it's broken. Oh, psychological problems, kind of. It's totally like he's making it up. These peripheral details of this incident, and yeah,